Hello and welcome. How's it going? This is Japan. We're talking about Andrade leaving the WWE. Now, we've had a couple days. I didn't want to like jump the gun. Like, it's cool to like, oh, let's talk about it right away. But then it's like, you don't really have that much information. We just kind of knew that he was no longer on the WWE site. But as of today, as of what I'm recording this, there pretty much is a cut and dry. He no longer is part of the WWE, and it feels like part of it was him ghosting the WWE. They wanted him to be part of a AAA event, and he basically refused by not picking up the phone. And that he was supposed to be tagging with Ray Phoenix at Clash of Paris against the Wyatt Sick, and it sounded like they were supposed to even maybe win the tag team title. So that's a giant opportunity he took away from Ray Phoenix, if that's the truth. Again, it's one of those things where like I feel like when a story like this breaks, everybody just has a million things to say about it, and you kind of have to spend a lot of time sifting through all of what's true, what's maybe what happened, because WWE works not like any other sport. It really does work like an entertainment brand, which is what it is. So it makes sense. But like entertainment stuff, like when like a actor gets fired or like they change something on a TV show, like not a lot of times we always know exactly what the reasoning is because the entertainment company doesn't want to throw some type of person under the bus because then other actors may not use them if something goes wrong, because they don't want to be also, thrown under the bus. And like the actor, isn't going to, say the show did something because then the studio or whoever owns that studio may never use them again in any other project or blackball them from other stuff. So WWE kind of feels that way sometimes. It's like we don't know. Like we don't know what people's contracts are on paper. Like it's so different when you go see somebody on like the NFL, you know exactly he's got 5 years, $200 million left on his contract. And so you kind of know when all of a sudden people are maybe gonna leave. But in WWE it doesn't happen like that. And it's kind of wild. So it's like with stuff like this, it's like we have so much information about like maybe, but most of these are probably incorrect. But it does seem like the general consensus is that he ghosted WWE for the last like 3 weeks at least. And if not longer, back to where Clash of Paris was. He didn't want to do the AAA stuff because he really was miserable there. From what I was told and or like what I've seen and stuff. And again, if that's the case, I think he went out the wrong way of being like not do like I'm not gonna do it because the problem is he had trouble in AEW with similar stuff and he's had trouble now in WWE. It's gonna put a really bad target on his back of where does he go next because the problem is both of these companies, AEW and WWE, what they've been doing is working with so many independent companies and like other promotions that like if you kind of have a stink or a bad reputation, it's gonna follow you around. Because like even if you just wanted to go to like a Spanish promotion, obviously you can't go to AAA because it's owned by WWE, and I think that was part of the root of the problems. If you wanted to go to their competition, the CMLL, like they work with AEW, and I think AEW doesn't really want to work with him. So it's like a lot of that type of stuff that you see like back and forth that is not necessarily a good look on you. And hopefully it was a misunderstanding or something happened where he was like, man, I just burnt out and I needed to talk to them, but I didn't, and I messed up, and I unfortunately blew this opportunity. Um, I think it's just more of like he just kind of got tired of this grind and maybe this will be his retirement. I mean, he seemed like he had a ton left in his tank, so it kind of really sucks if that's the case. And I really feel bad for Ray Phoenix if that was the case about the tag team titles because, yeah, if he's burned out and he needs that type of stuff, he should have been more honest with his tag team partner because it's like it's one of those things like where you really just hope that like the general consensus story of him just ghosting the WWE is false because if it's the truth, then it just is way worse on everything else than what it would be if it just happened to be one of those statements where it's like technically true but there was other problems with it. So I guess we'll see. I don't know what you guys think about his run in WWE, the second run. I honestly think like his stuff with Carmelo Hayes was really good. The stuff like with being in Money in the Bank, I thought was a pretty solid choice. That he went in there kind of as like an underdog, and I think he had some pretty solid moves in there, and I think he was a solid worker. He was definitely one of those guys that would be a little bit more destined towards that mid card area, but like he's a hard working like it seemed like very reliable person to be putting into a match that you knew you'd get a good match out of. And it kind of sucks to see him go. I really thought he was going to be in that U.S. title, and maybe even if they ever brought him to Raw, he could have been in the Intercontinental title fighting against Dom, and like a lot of that would have worked out. I thought pretty good. So it's like a kind of a bad missed opportunity, but I guess we'll see what happens next with. Obviously, where he's gonna go and where WWE's gonna go, because it kind of leaves Ray Phoenix out in the cold. And I know he had the U.S. title match to kind of get him back onto TV, but like, do you then pull the trigger about putting him back with his, Penta, or do you just kind of keep letting him go? Because the problem with SmackDown's like mid card fan, it's pretty stacked with people that are going in and out of the main event scene. That he's not going to have that opportunity, at least for a title. I mean, he can have feuds and other stuff like that, but I think they're really going to have to work to get Ray Phoenix into his position. And I know we're talking a lot about Ray Phoenix here, but that's only like real thing that we know about this story, because it's like no matter what happens, Andrade's gone from the WWE, so like you kind of have to see what happens next, and obviously this is what we got to figure out. So yeah, just wanted a little rant video type thing. So if you guys enjoyed this type of thing, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye guys.